My father was a CM when I did Kya Cool, so I'm like wondering what was I thinking.
Did he ever say anything?
No,
to
nothing,
you?
nothing. He didn't.
Nothing.
Nothing. He didn't even comment on it or whatever. I might just wake up and I'm sitting for my tea. She's doing her morning steps. I say, sit, let's do this. And that's it.
why half
It's
the
not
time
like
in our
hair,
pajamas and
makeup.
no makeup at all, tied hair.
We did Tujhe Meri Kasam, and he said she's good. She's better. Then 10 years later, we did Tere Naal Love Ho Gaya, and the first line says, good. She's still better.
Riteish, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
On the blockbuster success. Okay, biggest hit of your career?
Yes.
Second biggest Marathi film ever after Sairat?
Yes.
Biggest single day collection for a Marathi film?
Yes. Wow. I didn't put all these three together, but yes. Wow.
What have the last few weeks been like?
I'll tell you, more than excitement, I'm relieved because there was a lot that went into it right from its inception to the last few weeks. Then you say last few weeks because just 3-4 weeks before release, everything came onto us. So we didn't have studios backing us. We didn't have.
You mean in terms of release?
In terms
distribution.
of release, in terms of distribution, because also in Marathi films are made in a certain budget. This was slightly made at a higher budget, so our recoveries were slightly different compared to other Marathi films, and so we had to release on our own. The music was with us, so everything was with us. So everything, we were all in as a gamble, as they say, right? So it was stressful, and we hope that people just come to the theaters and watch it. How they would react, I didn't know, but I just hoped that they would come to the theaters. So yeah, that's why I say relieved more than happiness or joy or wow, this has happened. I think that will probably hit in a bit later, but at that time, like, oh, it's done.
Riteish, for me, I think the biggest triumph is that it is also your directorial debut. What a big leap for you as an artist, from an actor-producer to be a director. What was terrifying about direction for you?
I think to decide that you want to direct.
When did you decide?
I'll tell you, I started producing Marathi films with Balak Palak way back in 2013. So it's almost 10 years now. So I would say 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I thought, I don't know whether I can do it because it's not the world that I have. I'm not born into this world of cinema to understand everything from birth or what's happening. So I learned about what a light is on a set. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a track was. I didn't know what a round trolley was. So everything was learning on set. Even when I produced after 10 years of being into films, I learned everything on set, just observing people. I used to go on other actors' set to just sit and watch them act and just see and take a seat, like Farah's set or Karan Johar. I have gone on Karan Johar's outdoor.
Just to watch?
Just to watch. For Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna. So I was there for 15 days. I used to go every day on the set and just sit and watch them. And I used to think, not that I'm comparing myself to Shah Rukh Khan, I'm not that crazy, but I'm just saying that just the craft of how they are doing it, or just to just sit and watch. I used to just enjoy it, and they were friends and they were doing their stuff and whatever. But to be in love with the entire process of making films was something fascinating. So obviously, if I would tell someone that I would want to direct, I would always think they would laugh at me. The only confidant I had was Genelia, to whom I had mentioned once that I don't know whether I want to direct. This is exciting, but I'm too scared to commit to it. And when lockdown happened, and everything was done, everything was shut, and that's the time it happened. I saw Majli. I thought it would be interesting for Genelia and me to do it. Genelia had not done a Marathi film. She had not acted for 10 years, and I was after her for many years to just start. She said, not right now. Kids are small, whatever. And I said, probably this is the right time to do it. She said, okay, then that's how it started. So, in fact, I actually approached a couple of directors to direct this film, and they were busy doing something else. And that's when Genelia said, "Why don't you direct?" I was like, "Me directing? Yeah." I said, "Let me just write it. I'll say to the writers because there were certain things I wanted to adapt."
Yeah, your co-screenplay writer as
Yes,
well.
so
Yeah.
I wanted to adapt a new screenplay. I said, "Let me see how that goes." I think that process went on for nearly 8 months, and that's when I thought I have the grip of what this film should be. Post that also I went to someone, and fortunately that person was busy with a web series. So I said, "This is it. Let me commit. Let me just jump." I didn't tell anyone that I wanted to direct. I said, "This is just my own battle and my cross to bear. Let's do this."
And have you sent a thank you note to all those 4 who said no?
Interestingly, one director that he was busy with something, and he called me and he said that he really liked the film, and I can't, I would want to sit with you and discuss this film or the nuances and everything. I said, "Sure," and I said, "This is the same film that I had approached you." He said, "I know," and it was he was gracious enough to say, "I'm so glad I said no to the film because I got a director." So that was very nice of him.
Tell me, Riteish, about getting some of those sequences in place, like the opening top shot that you begin with, right, where Satya's lying in the water. I mean, you're establishing from the first frame that he's literally washed out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or that whole montage sequence where you establish the connection and the backstory of Shravani and how much she's loved him from the beginning, and how, in fact, she was there at pivotal romantic moments of the earlier couple. How did you formulate those sequences?
So, so the original film, it starts off with a cricket match, and then the hero's introduction, the way it is. So it is treated very heroically, and I didn't want that. I didn't want him to be a hero. So it works well in the original film, but to play it in the Maharashtrian milieu, in the understanding or sentiments of how Maharashtrians would watch a film, it was very important for me to establish who Satya is. He's absolutely washed out. He's drowning, yet alive. He's been hit by waves, yet he's surviving with the help of Shubhankar, who's the friend who picks him up. It's a subtext that every time there's this friend of his who doesn't say much, but every important decision in the film is made by him. So from there, and of course, cinematically, you try to approach a few things. Then, when the song that you talk about, in the original film, of course, there is a reference of the two stories connecting. But when we started looking at the same sequences, we tried to do it differently. We said, let's also Ajay-Atul, their music.
The music is outstanding.
And that song, when they told me, I wanted a happy song. Because the song comes through Shravani's perspective and she is looking at her life and beautiful. So it was Pehla Nasha, Pehla Kumar, slow, romantic. And that's my reference that this is the kind of song I want. And then he called me, "I've got the song and it's great." And he made me hear it. He told me it's not the song that you want, but this is the song that I think we should have. And I said, "This is like James Bond jazz." I said, "Maharashtrian music." I said, "What are we doing?" He said, "We should experiment, right?" I said, "I understand, but just listen to it." And I heard it, I was blown. And I said, "I didn't know what to do." Then I said, "Send me the song." And I heard 20 times that night. Just to understand, the song has its own beauty. It has its absolute symphony to it. It's heartbreaking and it's heart-wrenching. At the same time, the girl has to be smiling. The girl has to be happy in every frame till a point when it shatters her. How do I justify this? What are those moments that I want? Then we said, how are you going to shoot it? So the entire song became high speed, and we had to really wait on the moments where it needs to slow down and yet smiling. So we didn't know how it would land because the song was completely new for a Maharashtrian palette. Because that's not the typical song that you get in Marathi films. And in fact, when that song was out, I remember Anand Rai calling me and telling me, I really love the song, and it's very brave of you and Ajay to accept, because it's easy to say no to such songs. So I felt, when you're married to the idea, then you have to go absolutely full.
Go out on a
Go
limb. Yeah.
And that's what happened. At every point, we had to really figure out, what is going to happen and how. Even there's a beautiful sequence where, and it goes with the wordings, where Genelia comes with the umbrella at a bus stop, and she holds the umbrella, and he takes the umbrella. And now, in the earlier story, of course, the umbrella sequences with the other girl, but now it's only Shravani. And Shravani is walking, and there's a friend who just gives one look. Because someone needs to observe what's happening with her life. Though he doesn't tell Satya ever, till the end. Okay? But there's this, and even in the climax, when Shravani's heart is broken, he's sitting there and just gives that one look. So he has witnessed
The entire thing
of Satya's life with this girl and that girl. So I feel it's important for a character in the film to represent the audience.
But, the other thing, Riteish, that I was fascinated by is Hindi cinema has mostly leaned on you, apart from, let's say, like a Ek Villain, mostly they've leaned on you for your comic timing.
Sure.
You're very funny. You're inherently somebody who makes people laugh. But here, you're doing a performance that's very dramatic. It's very, it needs a certain level of intensity, it needs anguish. And yet, you're doing this man who has this character arc of, this happy, aspiring cricket player to that washed out guy we see in the first shot. And at the same time, you're also considering your shots.
Yeah.
You're also considering the frame, where the camera has to move. How did you balance between that?
I'll just tell you a bit of my difficulty, because it's my first film I was directing. So the first thing everyone told me was, get an experienced DOP.
Yeah, that's traditional wisdom.
Okay, because आप जो गलती करोगे वो संभाल लेगा कि नहीं ऐसे मत करो, इसको फ्रेम में रखो तो ये अच्छा लगेगा, because and that's how it should be. So I had a DOP, we did recce thrice, we went, locked everything done. 2 weeks to shoot, 3 weeks to shoot actually, and he tells me he can't do the film because he has some family emergency, and he left. I was stuck with no DOP, and I had to shoot the film. And my locations are locked, but now locked with this DOP that is not there. I have to figure out a DOP. Everyone, because it was just between 2 lockdowns, and every DOP was busy doing films and shows and everything. I had no one. So Genelia called up Puneet Malhotra, director, and he was doing a lot of ads, and he suggested one name. So there's 2 names. I met both of them, and he was the first person. I said, great, I see your work, fantastic. Then he told me, sir, एक ही बात बोलनी है आपको. ऐसे क्या? ऐसे मैंने पहले फिल्म नहीं की, लेकिन ऐसे मैंने भी नहीं की. Let's do it. So I had a DOP who's a first timer. I'm a first timer director. Genelia is first time Marathi. The other girl Nisha, she is Gia, first time her Marathi film. DOP is first time. The villain, his first film ever. The guy who wrote dialogues for the film, no film had released when I signed him. Screenplay writers, all first time. So we are all many firsts when we started this. So it with all that difficulty, now I had to, but he's a commercial artist, I'm an architect. So we understood that wherever we get a chance to just have those frames that we know that we as artists within us, we like them. Top shot, great. One guy sitting alone in the stadium, just that wide shot.
With
great.
Those chairs, with those color coordinated chairs.
With those color coordinated chairs, and there's a big L, so he's almost a loser. The letter is L. Also, one of my favorite shots was, Ashok Saraf standing in the sunset of his life, 2 boats, and they're discussing. And they're discussing about him, his last days. So that was very poetic for us. So we knew that these are the only places where you can do. Rest, it's an emotional film, so just stick to what we know basics. Um, so when, like you said, to understand the arc, right now people say you're directing, acting. Oh, I didn't think about it. I did not go into, oh, it's going to be so difficult, whatever. I just went with my gut feeling. I knew, see, by the time I was directing, I knew I knew every line of everyone who's going to say what. I was blessed with great actors who made it easy for me. But, and I told my team also that if you ever think that I'm going wrong somewhere, because very difficult, I'm trying to, now someone is acting in front of me. Am I going to react as an actor, or am I looking whether she's performing well or not? And many times like
That's
cut one
really
more.
tough.
I'm like this and over and cut one more. So now it's becoming that, right? To a point where there's a monitor right here. So there's a Shogun right next to me. There's a Shogun monitor there, other assistant. And I said replay. I said one more because you didn't have time. Marathi film, you don't have the luxury of time. You have to do it very fast. So we struggled a lot, and I guess the only thing that worked is probably I didn't think too much, didn't try to analyze what I was doing then. Just went to the gut feeling of okay, this is somewhere we are landing okay, and then went ahead with it. I don't know. I didn't think much. I guess that happens.
Ritesh, how do you, it's fascinating for me that you're this guy who, you're obviously very passionate about cinema. Your production company, Mumbai Film Company, has, your second film, Yellow, was got a jury mention at the National Awards
sure.
that year. But you also have this streak of the sex comedies. How do you balance all of this sort of varying aesthetic?
So I'll tell you what. The choices that I made as an actor weren't. See, today actor with a certain success can curate a film for himself. Today, stars who can decide what kind of films they want to be in, what kind of films they want to be part of, or the biggest of makers designing a film and thinking this is what I want to at early stage, and then they develop it together. So all that happened. In 2003, when I debuted, none of the studios wanted to work with newcomers. They wanted to work with stars. So you had to be successful, then hope that a Dharma, a Yash Raj, or an Excel would even entertain newcomers. They always wanted to work with stars, and fair enough. By the time your film were remotely successful trying to do this, they launched newcomers. So they said, हम स्टार के साथ क्यों काम करें? हमारे यहाँ तो न्यूकमर है. तो
हमारे अपने लोग.
हाँ, तो मतलब वो बोर्ड भी मिस हो गई, ये बोर्ड भी मिस हो गई. तो so strangely, within that period, the films that are successful were genres of comedy, be it the Housefull series, be it Dhamal. And I had the good fortune of working with Sajid Nadar for 5 films, or Vashuji, or Indra Kumar for 4-5 films. And within that, what happened was, early in my career I had done Kya Cool. And I was too young to understand. And looking back, I'm thinking my father was a CM when I did Kya Cool. So I'm like wondering what was I thinking.
Did he ever say anything?
No,
to
nothing.
you?
He didn't. Nothing. He didn't even comment on it or whatever. So I did it. The second day I remember people calling and saying it's a super hit. And I'm wondering, really? Because I was not a guy who ever wanted to be an actor. So I was here, a boy in a candy shop. Okay, try this chocolate, fine. If it didn't work, I was going home.
To the architecture.
To the architecture, or farming, or whatever I could do then. But things worked. I think, see, what happened was probably our aesthetics of doing adult comedies are a bit, quite crass compared to how a Hollywood does it. Yeah. And I'm just an actor. So there are times where I see, nahi karte yaar. But yes, you as an actor, you give in. And I'm not taking away from any films, like distancing myself away from any films that I've done. But I'm saying that there have been films, be it Masti Pathan or Grand Masti, which did about 100 crores. So there's a certain audience that watches that, and it's okay to entertain them. So there's nothing wrong in doing that. But it's important to understand that it's the sense of humor and the way we look at things and what we comment lightly may not be taken in the best sense. So there's a lot of responsibility now if anyone who wants to make a sex comedy or adult comedy, that to understand you don't hurt sentiments, you don't take the mickey out of someone to just entertain someone. So there is a lot of responsibility that comes into play to do that. And a guy who never wanted to be an actor, I have been a woman on screen, I have played a villain, I have done sex comedies, and I have done, but I feel that though I have been part of a few adult comedies, I was lucky that that tag didn't stick to me, that I only do this. Of course, there was a brief period there, but life moved on, other chances came along. But yes, the choices that I make as part of Mumbai Film Company are a bit more conscious, a bit more close to what I am personally. But choice as an actor, it's just you have these films and you have to choose one. So you choose the best out of the lot and move on.
Okay, on that note, let's bring on your partner in crime, Genelia.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome, and as I
Thank
was
you.
saying to Riteish, big congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
You are not only one of the leads, you are also producer on this one.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Marathi film debut.
Yeah, Marathi film acting debut. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is very, very special. I want to begin with something that you said in an interview, which really kind of made me think.
Okay.
You said he picked out even the saris and the bindis.
Yeah, he did.
That's how he was micromanaging.
Yeah, that's how he was. So the thing was, when he first chose me as Shravani, I thought I was coming back, after 10 years, and I would be with hair flying and all of that. But
The shampoo commercial.
yeah, but kidding. But to put things into perspective, he was so particular about how the sari needed to be, and how the bindi color needed to match, and it needed to match his set. So, but having
You
said
were
that,
matching the bindi color to your set.
See,
I love it.
No, so what I was doing was, in the second half, the first half is absolutely handheld because of the motion and everything, there's slightly more color. The second halves are into browns, burgundies, deep reds, deep green, deep blue. So we had an entire color palette of what the house is going to be. And the house also had colors that would complement these colors. Nothing is going to stand out. So, and also we have to make it real and not like complete ad-like. Yeah. So yes, I'm an architect, so.
Yeah, so he was like really particular. But what I think from all of that is that I got a sense of what the girl was, the character that I was playing. Because when your director is so clear, and very often people look at clothes as clothes, but when you look at it as a character, it just enhances you, threefold. And I've always been that person who likes to play it and look it as well. So, I think when someone's so clear, it just gives you that clarity of what the character Shravani was, yeah.
I want to speak about her a little, because the truth is, guys, there is no woman who would put up with that. okay, come on. Like, I was like, okay, she is just, no, this is not going to happen. But what you do, Genelia, is you give her a humanity. Yeah. And that last scene, where she actually says why she's leaving, it really lands.
Yes.
It really hurts. Yes. Even if you haven't bought into her, which I didn't. Yeah. Okay, I was like, sure. I was just thinking, okay, but when she says that, my heart really bled for her.
Yeah.
What was his direction to you in that scene?
Before she starts, I just want to add here, throughout the film, see, that's where an actor comes in. So we had a narration and everything. She told me she needs to stand for herself. I said, well, she needs to take a stand. He says, when she's leaving, it has to be her decision, I'm done. After all this, because then it'll become regressive. You might give in to a point where you are okay. 5 is, 7 is, like you say, no one would do it. But there are women who are out there living their lives like this without. So this is hope for them that, and also an understanding for the husband where it needs to stand.
Yeah, the thing is, so where I came from when I heard the script was that he is self-destructive. It's not a habit that he enjoys, or that he goes. He's hurting, so he's self-destruct. It's self-destruct. It's not an alcoholic who beats up his wife. He's a decent boy in that zone. There's nothing wrong, I mean, had it been that zone, then it would be really regressive. But Shravani, having seen him from the time, and it's that.
When she's a little girl almost. Yeah. They're in school together.
Yeah. So that's where it made it humane, for me but I think it needed a little more understanding, because when I also first heard it, the first thing I said, isn't she a bit too regressive? And he put it very nicely for me. She's not. She's just selfless. She has a career, she has a life. It's not that she sits at home and only cooks or cleans, She goes to work, she comes back, she pays her bills. She's a proper homemaker, and she has this one person in her life who she knows will turn at some point, and that's only her belief. And I've always said this, that my characters teach me something about life, because I'm not so selfless as Shravani. But today I realize that everyone has that selfless bit. I mean, when you're a parent, you are hopelessly and selflessly in love with your kids, right? And I very often think it's a one-sided relationship till you become that parent, because you never really know until then. So I feel that quality exists in all of us at some place. It's just finding the connect to play it on screen. Yeah.
Was that a tough scene to direct? The last at the station one.
Yeah.
There were other difficulties which I'll come to later. But with this, what was difficult was, what do I want to tell the audience, right? There are two perspectives. So Genelia was, we also, because apart from actors, she's my biggest strength, my bounce board. So I sat and wrote that scene 35 times.
Yeah.
Every day I used to sit and write. I used to write it myself, then I used to go to my writer used to write something else, then we said, what will she say? What is she going to say, right? Now, there were 2 points. The original film, right, the entire scene happens at one spot. But I wanted to break it, because I wanted to give it some distance between the two to understand what she wants to say. I said, and Genelia said, whatever I have to say, it's already seen in the film. So don't make me speak much, because audience has already seen it. I say audience, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's gone through. So now there were things that he needed to understand, and also what she brings about is pain, but yet with a smile.
Yeah.
She's saying that it's my fault कि मैं कितनी भी राह देखूं, अगर मैं ही गलत प्लेटफॉर्म पे खड़ी हूँ, तो मेरी ट्रेन कैसे आएगी? In Marathi, that was a line. It doesn't matter how long I wait. I am staying on the wrong platform. The train that I want to catch will never going to come here. And he goes to pick and says, done. Stop it. Now that's the point where she is gone, he's gone, now he doesn't know what to do, and obviously you have to come to an end. And he comes back. And in Marathi, when you say that, there's a saying ki जाणे पूर्वी निरोप घेतला पाहिजे, which is that you have to say goodbye before you leave. And she's waiting like, okay, come to say goodbye. And that he says, one of us have to keep an account. I had gone to say my goodbye to the room, to all the memories that I had. So now he talks about his madness. Our writer, Ajay Deshmukh, said a beautiful line in Marathi. He said that there's madness in you, there's madness in me. He said that you were in love with me. I understand. Tera mujh pe pyar tha. But I kept falling in love with you.
Right.
In Marathi, it's a very simple. Ki माझं प्रेम होत गेलं. And the fact that it's so casually said, and it's understood in the film also. So it was important for the lines to land.
When I see the two of you, and you're obviously so
Yeah.
passionate and so connected, right? Obviously personally, but also professionally. What are the rules of engagement then? I mean, there can't be a अब हम काम पे हैं,
Yes.
अब हम घर पे हैं.
Yes.
How do you do it? Like, Is it all work, talk, or no? Or do you set rules? Because I know that apparently Jaya ji has said no conversation about movies at the dining table.
No, so what I think we talk a lot about films, honestly, because it's pretty much our life. But what we do at the dining table is no cell phones. And
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's something that our kids have also made us realize. That, I mean, we're so strict with them. Like, you know, when you're eating your food, it has to be about your food. So it was something that came from them as well. And we felt that if we want them to do something, we need to implement it ourselves. So now the phones are not on the table. At least we try 90%, unless it's that, you know, very that meeting that needs to happen, but otherwise phones are not. Or even when we go to bed, our phones are kept outside our room versus inside. This is something that's new, but we keep evolving with little things. But having said that, working together, I think I honestly wonder why people find it so difficult, because I just feel that I don't trust anyone more than Riteish, and Riteish doesn't trust anyone more than me in a business proposition, right? Films are a business thing at the end of the day. And what I feel is, if you respect each other enough, you know where to draw your lines. That's where the maturity comes in. I'm not saying we're mature people, but I'm just saying that when you respect each other's line of work, then you know where to draw your lines automatically. No one has to tell it to you. Like, very often people would tell us that, how did you all manage for so long? And we were like, we've never done these girl trips separate, boys trips separate. Like, he would call me with, you know, and if he wanted to go on a boy trip, it's no big deal. You know, it's not like I'm dying to do it. So I just feel that's how you behave in a relationship. I don't understand this whole, you know, thing. And having said that, when I'm taking certain decisions, I tell Riteish, now this is my decision. Like, it has to be whatever it is, I'm going to be, you know, responsible for it. And similarly, in his creative part, I'm only a bounce board. Like, when he tells me things, I'll give my suggestion if I have one, but I will never get involved in what he needs to do as the director. So I think when you have that understanding and when you have your own with you, I think it just goes forward.
I remember seeing an interview of yours, Riteish, where you said that your father, whenever he saw your films together, would always say that she's the better actor. Is that still true?
Yeah, it is. No, look at this. We did Tujhe Meri Kasam, and he said, she's good, she's better. Then 10 years later, we did Tere Naal Love Ho Gaya, and the first line says, good, she's still better. So those are two films, and even with Wade,
I said.
Wade, my mother told me, she's better than you. But apart from that, you know, I hope there'll be a film where I'll be able to match her. Outdoing is difficult.
Tell me about your vision for the Mumbai Film Company. What you know, you've launched a music label as well. What do you both hope to do? And is producing Hindi cinema or creating Hindi cinema part of it, or are you sort of devoted to Marathi cinema?
No, I will say that as Mumbai Film Company now has been 10 years, we wanted to build certain credibility within the company, that we are here to make content that works and resonates with the audience, be it critical, be it popular, you know, all kind of cinema. About Hindi films, you know, we sincerely don't want to approach a studio or an actor and them to feel compelled because we know them, you know.
Sure.
One has to, अरे ठीक है देख लेंगे कर लेंगे कैसे ना बोले. I don't want to get into that. So वो है ना खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना, you know, that we want to empower ourselves enough so that at least they will look at it not because they know us, but with the strength of the script or strength of the film that you know. With regards to what kind of films we definitely want to make more Marathi films. We hope, we have discussed
We hope to make some.
that we hope to make at least 3 films a year in Marathi.
Really?
Yeah, we would want to do
So
that.
she's going to be like
Yeah.
hands full as producer or actor?
Yeah.
A producer for sure.
Yeah.
And we want to, she always says that, and that's her, that he said we have to introduce new talent.
Yeah.
We have to.
We have to. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, there are people who are meant for certain things, and it's just about giving them a platform. Like, we were both first time actors in our families, and we both stood out there and faced it, and we know how tough it is, you know. And if like I was introduced in 2003 with Tujhe Meri Kasam, and then my next big break came with Amir Khan's production Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Da, and had I not got offered that film, I probably wouldn't be able to show that I'm capable of doing something. So as a production house, and Riteish also is very good with, you know, the technical parts, you know, choosing a DOP. Like with our DOP, I mean,
He was saying, he said that he had to, it was a last minute thing. Yeah.
So we'd like to, it needn't be only actors, it could be a singer, it could be, now that we have a music label, it could be, you know, a DOP, an art, someone or the other. We'd like to always introduce that in Mumbai Film Company. And I think with the music scenario, you know, I've always been one to have the opportunity of going down south, of hearing, like my ear for music is various kinds of music, because I've been brought up like that. Like even English, I've heard country music, which I don't even think people know about anymore. So when Riteish chose Besuri, in fact, as a song, which is a jazz song, and a totally different song, one wouldn't feel that, at least a first-time director would choose it straight up. I just felt that it was commendable to make that choice and to introduce more Marathi music, to introduce different kinds of music, but having that core, you know, each region has something special about it, and if you tap the right notes, maybe you'll just get something spectacular. So we just hope to keep our heart in the right place and get things around that. Yeah.
So before we end, tell me, how do new people who want to work with you, how do they find you? Is there a website? Is there an email?
No, so what we are doing is for Desh Music, we are looking forward to curating more music, an ecosystem for new artists. So not only film music, it could be folk
Independent music,
it could be independent music, it could be devotional music. So we don't want to be a label that is only curating film music. And so this is what we want to do, and soon we'll be announcing for people who can just, you know, sign the NDAs and give their stuff, give their music for us to listen to, or probably meet up and, you know, we can collaborate. So that independently, yes, and you're rightfully, we're definitely going to announce that soon. Mumbai Film Company, there is an email ID. And that is there where people keep sending us whatever they have. They contact us on sometimes on Instagram and Twitter, but that's not really the right way to go about it.
No, I think Instagram is great.
Sometimes they get lost because there are so many messages.
There must be so much.
Yeah. I mean, not just to our handles, but to Mumbai Film Company as a handle. Like, you know, if you send in something,
it'll be looked at.
It'll definitely looked at. Yeah. And I also feel like you asked whether we would look at doing Hindi films. Yes, after 10 years, we are definitely looking at doing Hindi film. We are also working on a series. This is the first time we'll be saying, but we got the rights for this highly acclaimed Marathi book, Shodh.
Exciting!
And Shodh is basically it's an action adventure treasure hunt that dwells in present and past at the same time. So it's a very exciting book, and we are very excited to develop this into a big series.
Nice. But before I let the two of you go, I have to tell you that so much of the joy about the two of you also comes from your Instagram. Okay,
thank you.
Those reels that you guys do together.
You know, I have one request. I think you and Vinod sir should do one reel together. ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग यार?
You come home and direct it. वो नहीं करना है.
वो कैसे करेगा? वो खुद आपके पास घर में इतने अच्छे डायरेक्टर है.
But who directs these? How do you guys do it?
Riteish, when he first started doing these, it was on TikTok, I remember that.
That's right, it was on TikTok,
Yeah, when he started doing it, it would annoy me. I was like, morning, evening, what are you doing? And that time, we were so close to each other because it was COVID, so there was nowhere else to go. It was just, you know, And he would do these things and I would be like, what are you doing? And he would take a lot of interest. It was like a script, to figure out which one was right for him and which one. And then he started involving me. And initially I would only do it because he said to do it.
And you would do the reaction shots.
Yeah, and I would do all of that. And then I started finding my space in it. And I started enjoying it. I feel half my auditions are given through it. But I think it's more than anything, I think during COVID when we were doing this, there were a lot of people who messaged us saying that in these times, this is something that we look forward to.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so...
And also I feel, there are multiple views on this, So, had Wade not run, okay, Arey, you are available on Instagram for free. Why would
तो
people...
क्यों लोग आएंगे?
क्यों लोग देखेंगे?
Correct.
So there are a lot of things that if you're doing movies and you're doing Instagram, as long as you're keeping those separate, so now if I have to do a film that is like the couple in Instagram, then I really have to figure out, is this the right thing to do? But because this was about a couple that is never together, so it probably makes you think differently about how you perceive. But I just feel social media today has its strengths, of course. It definitely goes sometimes dark when people respond differently. But as we know, we are here to entertain. And if you're here to entertain someone in 15 seconds, which is even more difficult, then why not? We enjoy the space.
Yeah, we enjoy
we enjoy it.
We really
You
do.
look like you're having fun.
But also, I want to say this, our reels are not overproduced.
Yeah, never.
So I might just wake up and I'm sitting for my tea, she's doing her morning steps, and I say, let's do this.
Yeah,
And that's
why
it.
half
It's
the
not
time
like
in our
hair,
pajamas
makeup.
and no makeup at all, tied hair. It's always that.
It's always. So and somewhere I feel that really probably resonates with people because it makes it look real. And many a times when probably you're doing a photo shoot and it's all decked up and video, and you realize that people are not interested in those.
Well, thank you. Thank you for adding all the fun and the joy, and for congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And all the best for the Mumbai Film Company
Thank
and
you.
all your
so much.
ambitious plans.
Thank
Go
you.
forth and conquer.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you. Hi, this is Riteish Deshmukh.
Hi, this is Genelia Deshmukh.
And like, share and subscribe. Film Companion.